Hello, everybody, and welcome to the False Prophets Podcast, episode 45. That is not true. It's episode 46. I've been in New Jersey for about, I'd say, a month, maybe a month. And this is a month after, living 10 years in New York City, 10 years among chaos, 10 years among binge drinking to levels that most human beings do not know. 10 years of just debauchery. And I think some of that debauchery and some of that chaos, when I came down here, must have rubbed off on the local New Jersey community, because me and my cousin were at Quick Check last night. We had just partook in some recreational smoking activities. We walk into the Quick Check to buy food. We're at the register, and in walks in a motherfucker dressed in high heels, fishnet stockings, and a shower curtain on. I say motherfucker because this is gender neutral. Motherfucker's gender neutral, okay? It's gender neutral, but it leans toward the masculine, which is what was happening. This was a biological male. I'm not trying to get canceled on YouTube. This is a biological male rocking high heels, fishnet stockings, and nothing but a shower curtain. This is absolutely true. This is the real. This is true. Okay? All right? And you're not understanding, like I said, I've been living in New York 10 years. This is not New York, okay? This is not New York. This is Scotch Plains, New Jersey, which might as well be the town from fucking Footloose, okay? These are, dancing is outlawed, and trans women with high heels, stockings on, and no clothes aside from a shower curtain definitely is not something that is usual in this town. This is not a normal thing. Very, very weird. Very weird. Even worse was when I ordered my sandwich. You have to go pay for it. Quick Check is like Wawa. It's a regional thing. It's great sandwiches, amazing sandwiches. If you ever get high and you're in the New Jersey tri-state area, definitely go to a Quick Check. It's the best. It's amazing. But when you order a sandwich, you have to go up and you have to buy the sandwich at the register. They give you a paper. You pay for that. Then you go back and you get the sandwich. And I'm ordering the sandwich. I see the person dressed very strangely walking in. And what even made it crazier was I turn around to go and get my sandwich, and I immediately, and remember too, I'm high as fuck, dude. So it's like I turn around to go get my sandwich. I turn around and there's a cop sitting there, standing where the sandwiches are picked up. And he's not just going for a second and leaving. He's hanging out and having a conversation, and I'm high, so I couldn't be more awkward. I literally turned, but because I saw him, I didn't want to seem suspicious, so I just kept turning. So I literally just went in a full circle, which is probably the most suspicious thing you could do. And I'm literally seeing this woman or man or whatever walk in, and then I'm also seeing this cop. I just felt like I was in a fever dream. I was like, I know we smoke weed, but did I take mushrooms? Am I just seeing things now? What is going on? It was a very weird night. Very weird night. Good to see that. Good to see that Scotch Plains is getting very liberal. I guess this is what's happening. It's so funny though. It's like me and my cousin, we were having an argument. He was basically saying this is a trans woman and everything, that's fucking crazy. I'm like, buddy, no, okay? I know trans women. I've seen plenty of trans women. That ain't no fucking trans woman. That is a man who is down on his luck. That is a guy who had one bad bet go really wrong. He had a few too many drinks and he had to go to Quick Check and get sandwiches for the whole entire party. That's the type of guy you're talking about. I mean, you looked at the dude, and it was just he wasn't even, it just did not fit him. You know what I mean? This man looked like tonight he's Giselle and tomorrow he's a pillar of the community. During the day, he's a husband and a father, but the night is for him. And the night is where he's free to be who he is. It brought a smile to my face, to see this town be as weird as I remember it being. Because that's the whole thing too. Being from New Jersey, people always tell you or being from New Jersey, when you go to the city, people are always like, oh, you're from the suburbs, all this shit, blah, 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 blah. And I definitely am. There's tons of nice houses around here. But I will say, this town specifically, Scotch Plains, Fanwood, it's a strange town. People do strange things. They say strange things. They are strange. They are not remotely normal. And this one, was definitely taking the cake, but it also didn't surprise me. If I was in any other part of New Jersey, I'd be like, what the fuck? As soon as that motherfucker walked in, I was like, okay, well, this is where we're at. This is what we're doing. It's not that out of the ordinary for Scotch Plains, New Jersey. So I'm good that they say keep Portland weird, keep Austin weird, keep Scotch Plains weird. It's fucking beautiful. Let's keep going. How are you guys today? Oh, that's good. That's good to know, man. I've been watching the urban news circuit. A lot of stuff is happening. You know what I mean? The nigga news, the CNNs. Oh my God, Little Meech apparently they released a video of him pleading with TSA about some sort of firearm in his bag. I saw the whole thing. His firearm in his bag, and he's telling the TSA, like, excuse me, sir, like, that is not my firearm. Those are my security guards. This is their firearms and stuff like that. They put it in the bag. They forgot to take it out of the bag. It's not mine. It's not mine. It's not mine. And it's so funny because after this happened, after this video was released, his lawyer made a statement, and you would think his lawyer would be making a statement about the illegality of the firearms that were found in his or her client's bag. But apparently the lawyer was actually just making a statement about how Little Meech was not a snitch. And can I say, I'm so fucking tired of this like snitch culture that's been going on. I mean, like, yeah, there was always the snitches get stitches and all that shit, and hip hop caring about snitches and shit. But I feel like now with the internet and all these different people who did no jumpers of the world, the 1090 Jakes of the world and shit like that, this whole snitching thing has become so huge, and it's fucking awful. Number one, who cares? Who cares? That's my biggest thing. Who gives a shit at all? There is no point. Little Meech is not Big Meech. Okay, he's not a street guy. He plays a street guy on TV. Okay, who else are you gonna start accusing? You want Skeeter to show his paperwork? Okay, Skeeter from Doug. You want who's another Gerald from fucking Hey Arnold? You want him to show the paperwork? It's so ridiculous. And then it's like, I think really, and DJ Academics has talked about this too, about how now black culture and street culture are synonymous. And it kind of sucks because throughout history, since black people have been brought here to America on boats, the media and realistically white society and the white population has been trying to fuse street culture, illegal culture, and black culture together forever. I mean, that's literally what Birth of a Nation is. If you've ever seen that movie, it's slaves, shouldn't be free, or black people are terrifying because they're going to rape every white woman and steal everything. And it was fucking awful. We've been constantly sold this thing, or not even us, society has been sold this thing of like, black people are dangerous and black people are criminals. Black people are dangerous and black people are criminals. And for centuries, that wasn't the truth, but we still were constantly had that shoved in our face, like black people have, that's the thing about, critical race theory and all that stuff, and why it's so important is because like black people have had wealth in America multiple times. It's just been taken away multiple times, while also still defaming our character over and over and over and over and over again. We've been sold this black people are criminals thing, and we weren't, you know what I mean? But we would have our towns burned down. Then we get back up. Black people are criminals. Black people are criminals. Black people are criminals, and we're still not. And then another society where we're building things and coming together with entrepreneurship gets burned down. Deeds to homes and land get signed away to white men who burned down entire fucking towns and took over people's homes and their businesses. And then after they still couldn't defeat us because we keep rebuilding ourselves over and over and over again, they create crack and put that into the community. And that causes such a profound destabilization of the entire black race in America that there was a heavy increase in criminality. And now, because we've taken so long to recover from that specific attack, the whole entire narrative of black people being criminals has finally stuck within the culture so much that we cling to it, so much that we identify as criminals almost. You know what I mean? Because if we didn't, Little Meech's lawyer wouldn't have to make an address about how he didn't snitch so that he could still seem cool in black culture. This is insane. It's ridiculous. It doesn't fucking matter. None of these people are actual street dudes. Don't get me wrong. I mean, like, if some rapper is like a heavy street rapper or some shit like that and then gets caught for snitching, yeah, it's entertaining. I'm not oblivious to the entertainment factor of it. You know what I mean? You want somebody to practice what they preach, but at the same time, we need to look at the larger picture of what's happening here and see that it really is a recipe for disaster. This whole snitching culture thing really is going to be a thorn in our side for a very long time. I mean, you see it right now. Black wealth is up, black entrepreneurship is up, black unity is very far up. But I feel like if we keep this section of our culture, because it's not the only part of our culture, it is synonymous with our culture, but it's not the only part, you know? But if we keep this aspect of our culture, no matter how many black families gain wealth and no matter how many black families raise themselves up and the people in the community up, the people who are still in jails are going to look like us. You know, and I think that's going to be a very big issue. It's already a huge issue now, but I think that's going to be something that's very wrong, and it's eventually going to cause a divide between ourselves, because we're really, what's going to happen is a good portion of the black population is going to reach a level of affluency while another part of the black population is still down here and it still isn't trying for more and is still shamelessly, idiotically throwing their lives away for some sort of street cred. And that's going to cause a serious divide. So much so that I could see stuff where, you know, black people of affluency advocating for poor black people to not get certain rights and this, that, and the third, and have a slippery slope. You know, and kind of repeat the same cycle that we've been living through over and over again of us having to start over. Even if all of us don't have to start over, some of us will have to. And I just think it's disgusting. And it has to fucking stop. I mean, that's why I was watching that shit with Whack 100 and 1090 Jake. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, man. This shit is, I get it. I get why it's there. It is addicting. It's very interesting to watch. Even if you hate it, it's magnetic. There's something about someone being exposed and called out, and especially like a rapper being exposed and called out, because rappers are supposed to be the most authentic and the most toughest. So when you're saying you're not authentic and you're not tough, that's a very interesting thing for spectators and for fans to just see all over, you know? So I get it, but I was watching the whole thing with, you know, Whack 100 and 1090 Jake, and he was calling 1090 Jake basically a Klan member. He was saying, you're a Klansman, all this shit, and you're finding, like, you know, black people, and you're shitting on black people, you're speaking on black people's affairs. And, you know, I think to some extent, he's right in the sense of, like, you're speaking on these black people's affairs, you should back the fuck up. But at the same time, it's not 1090 Jake's fault that this seems to be a whole entire section of YouTube and social media. It's like, Whack 100, if you think that shit is so bad, then why don't you stop talking about people's paperwork? None of it matters. You need to stop it too. It's not just him. It's not black folks' business. It's none of our business. Bro, if you don't break the law, it's not your business. It's not your business at all, and it should not be put out there. And these things are just going to bring us further and further and further back, you know, which is not something we need, because we all know we're at war with China. The apocalypse is coming. Okay, people, we don't need all this extra shit, you know? See why I wanted to talk about the random trans woman wearing high heels and nothing but a shower curtain up top? Because I was like, this is going to get gloomy. This is going to get real, you know? I don't even know what's fucking next up here. Gucci Mane owns a record label and he gets a bunch of drill rappers. His former rapper, Lil Wop, if you guys don't know who Lil Wop is, he was a drill rapper, cool dude. He was doing things, I would say, like about a year or two ago, really like putting out a lot of music. Classic, social media, SoundCloud type nigga, whatever. But recently he came out as bi. This is like a few months ago. Now he's been putting out, different Instagram posts. One was talking about boy pussy. Apparently, Lil Wop has started his own OnlyFans. It's like a whole thing. He recently put out a post of him dressed very like seductively in like a yellow wig and like listening to Ice Spice and shit. Very zesty stuff. And people are freaking out. But I feel like this isn't a surprise at all. I feel like this is where hip hop has been going for a very, very long time. And in fact, I think this is where a lot of the snitching culture, the thug culture comes from. I mean, you can't be that hyper masculine for that long and not have an issue with your own masculinity or your sexuality. If you like girls so much, why are you willing to throw your life away at any time to be around a bunch of men for the rest of your life? Call me crazy. Call me crazy. You know? And also too, I mean, if you want to talk about the Lil Uzis of the world, the Young Thugs of the world, obviously, talking about somebody who's cross-dressing and going to jail right now, right? I think this is something that's kind of been a long time coming. And also too, I mean, like black people have gay people in our culture to the same percent as everybody has gay people. So it makes sense that some of these rappers are going to be gay. I think it's fine as long as, Lil Wop is open about who he is. And, it seems like he is. So, shout out to him for actually being honest about himself and not relying on the constant thug culture and hypermasculinity. It must get exhausting. There's no wonder this nigga went from like being straight, like crazy tattooed up, guns and every fucking thing, to dressing like a fucking cat and like wearing like all sorts of girly seductive shit. Bro, it's exhausting. It must be so exhausting to be like, they're two sides of both of a spectrum, you know what I mean? So it's like hypermasculine and hyperfeminine. So it's like you're being so hypermasculine that now you can't even just chill. In order to feel even slightly normal, now you gotta fucking put on like a cat suit and wear a thong, just to feel normal, man. So I'm happy for him. Hopefully he gets all this shit out of his system and just lives life like a regular gay or bisexual person, And shout out to the OnlyFans. Get your money, get your bag, bro. I'm not judging. I mean, I feel like black people, I feel like we spend so much time judging each other for minuscule things, except judging each other for going to prison. That's the one thing. Everything else is corny except for throwing your life away. I was just talking about the ESTG thing of like everybody want to wear ski masks all the fucking time and how stupid that is. Like these are all dumb things, but that shit is seen as cool. But someone like Lil Wop is seen as like disgusting and lame and corny and weird. You know what I mean? So a man being himself and embracing his sexuality, disgusting. A man masquerading as a violent criminal, totally okay. We need to figure something out. And if anybody calls me gay after this, I don't know. My heart goes out to you because you are a very confused human being. Things are heating up in old Florida recently. Things are going a little crazy in Florida. Apparently, Governor Ron Desantis is about to pass a bill. He's about to sign a bill into a law about how there should be no illegals now, and especially, I guess, at construction sites and stuff, where a lot of illegals work, that you can't have any workers who don't have papers on the premises of any job site. And someone who was, there was a man holding a camera, speaking in Spanish, saying like, well, I hope to see all the people that are lining up for work, and I don't know where you're going to get these people, where you're going to get the people for agriculture, this, that, and the third. I agree with that. I agree and disagree with that. I agree to an extent. Here's the thing. Like, I'm not against, illegals being able to make a living and survive and provide for their family. That's not what I'm against at all. But I am very for worker regulations. There have to be things in place for workers to have the rights that all workers have. And so, in order for the latter to exist, the former has to go, or at least be lessened a lot. Okay? In order for actual workers who are actually on the books to actually have the real rights that they deserve, illegal workers who slip through the cracks and aren't on the books and basically undercut the benefits of real workers have to decrease. For the black people that are working in these places, and not even just black people, just other workers in general who are working at these places, now they may not get benefits. Now they may not get this, that, and the third, because you can always fire them and hire some dude who technically isn't allowed to be there. And this is a tough day. I've never actually agreed with a Republican before, but it's an interesting thing to talk about, and I think it's something that definitely needs to be discussed further. Because like I said, I'm here for anybody who wants to make a living for their family and stuff like that. But when it comes to illegal workers and stuff, and just worker compensation and worker benefits, I think things definitely need to be figured out, without a doubt. And also too, it's like, you are coming here illegally. I understand you want to make a better life for yourself, but there's tons of people across the world who come here legally and just have to wait their turn. So yeah, sure, I don't know, maybe a building will take longer to get built, maybe. Or maybe it'll take longer to get built initially, but from now on, because they're seeking legal workers, things won't be as bad. And maybe because so much of that money isn't off the books, it might actually boost the economy as well. So that has been it from from neoconservative Phil. I don't know, man. The older I get, the more fucking hardened and shit I am. I don't know. I don't think that's hardened though. Is it? I don't know. Tell me. Let me know I'm wrong. Please, get in the comments and tell me I'm a bigot. I don't fucking know what to do. The world's going to hell in a handbasket. To all the workers down in Florida, down in Miami, if you're looking for work, just head up to Nebraska, because apparently they're still allowing child labor there. So this is very true. Apparently, a middle school in Nebraska started reporting to the police and Child Protective Services, because a lot of the students at the school started coming in with chemical burns, were sleeping all day because they were exhausted. And these kids are telling them that they work overnight at a slaughterhouse in town. And apparently this is like a known thing in the town. So it's kind of more usual and a bit more normalized than you would think. But yeah, this slaughterhouse, it's not necessarily the slaughterhouse, it's the cleaning company that cleans the slaughterhouse overnight, recently got booked for federal offenses, I believe, of hiring 13-year-olds to do this extremely dangerous job of cleaning the slaughterhouse. In New Jersey, the legal age to work was 14. So I don't necessarily see the problem with somebody 13 or 14 working. My issue is, number one, it's overnight. Number two, you're cleaning a slaughterhouse, so it is hazardous, very, very disgusting, unsanitary, and hazardous. Those aren't good conditions for a child to be in. If a child wants to work at a Starbucks at 13, go right ahead. Make all the frappuccinos you want, but you should not be cleaning the slicer overnight, at a fucking slaughterhouse. That's just unacceptable. So, if any of you, if any of you illegals are looking for some spots, head up to Nebraska. They're looking for work. They'll take you in. They'll take you in right here, right now. I still can't believe that child labor. I thought we were done with this. The world, and even me too, at times can complain and be like, "Oh, the world's becoming so liberal." But then there's a whole nother side. It's like, yeah, but it's also becoming scarily conservative in certain ways and scarily libertarian in certain ways. There are children working overnight shifts at slaughterhouses. Not okay. This reminds me of like history class, where you would learn about the turn of the century and you see like black and white photos of some little kid in a factory and he's like missing an arm. So like the sleeve is like tied in a knot and shit. It's like, dude, we have cell phones now, okay? This is not right. This is not right. All right. We stopped sterilizing the mentally ill and we don't do child labor anymore. That's fine. We are good. I feel like this country as a whole, I feel like since it was started, it was just built on being individualistic and capitalistic, but socially individualistic. The whole point of it was to be a country of freedom. So freedom of religion, freedom of whatever the fuck. I fell asleep in history class, but freedoms of stuff. Okay. This is the False Prophets podcast, if you don't know. I think that's why it was such a great place for immigrants, because each person from any different country, if they felt like they didn't really fit in the society that they were in, and they wanted more for themselves or to stake their own claim to something, they came here. And I think that's a brilliant way for a country to start. But because of the culture of constant individuality, no one really empathizes with each other enough. It's like you have your group, you're in your bunch of little groups, and because you're in the same group as somebody, you empathize with each other, but we don't see each other as a full nation. And then on top of that, because once the internet got thrown into the mix, it was over. It was over. You know, then we became even more individualistic and even more isolated. But because we could connect to each other from far away without having to physically touch or physically speak to each other, we got more individualistic, but more radical in our thoughts and our speeches and things that we would say to each other to communicate. Because it feels like they're right there, but they're also far away. So everything and everybody is so surrounded by so many distractions that you feel like you have to stand out from the pack, you know? So in order to do that, everybody talks in hyperbole. And this is why we're in a country that has child labor, but 40, 50-year-old people on Facebook say that this generation is going soft. You know, it's like there's parts of this world that each side just doesn't see. There's sides that I don't see. There's sides that the conservative side doesn't see, and it's wild. And it's starting to radiate across the world as well too. Because for a time, it was only America where this type of stuff was happening, and this type of self-centeredness and selfishness and toxic individuality was happening. But now it's also happening across the rest of the world too, once again, because of the internet, because of social media. You know, I feel like now when people are alive, they almost view society as they're the main character in a video game and everybody else is just a non-playable character. So no one's real. Like that's also why I think the constant mass shootings and stuff are happening, because everybody's so removed from actual reality that no one even sees the person next to them as a true human being. Think about this. I'm doing this. I mean, 10 years ago, I would have just been having a beer, talking to my friends, fucking airing my grievances. Now I'm so afraid that one of my friends is going to hear one of my thoughts and rat me out to my boss and I'll lose everything, that now I have to create a video, make my own channel, and hope that I can have a fan base so that anytime I spew a thought, you know, even if I do lose my job, I might have something to fall back on. Or at least people telling me I'm not crazy. Shit is fucking nuts. And on that note, I would like to end this anxiety attack by saying this has been the False Prophets podcast. I love you guys so much. You're awesome. The viewership has been stepping up, and I'm stepping in to get better at these things and put more shit out. So I'm happy you guys are supporting. So please like, share, subscribe, do all the stuff you need to do. And yeah, man, this has been the False Prophets podcast. I'm your host, Phil Risson. Peace.